Yo, what is good, my anime people? It's good, yo. Guys, I forgot how to play this game completely. Okay, there's that. Gotcha. Okay. Alright. One episode at a time, boys. I won't be dropping something as quickly, I think, today. I think I'll be dropping Fate a little bit later today, so please bear in there with that. But this week's episode of My Hero is one of the episodes that kind of give me the satisfaction of just seeing what the aftermath is, because usually a show doesn't really need to do an aftermath because people already kind of know what to expect, or what has happened is going to be something that's going to weigh on the characters, so they kind of just like, okay, yeah, I knew that, and they don't really pay too much attention to it, so it's nice to see it here and being elaborated on, because if not, we probably wouldn't have gotten such like emotional stuff from the characters in the case of Mr. Linnea, who has actually lost his quirk, and they're actually gonna keep that narrative. Excuse me. I'm happy they're keeping that a narrative. It definitely makes it feel like the battle was just that much more um, costly, right? Like, doesn't feel like it's been undersold by just giving him his ability back. Not to mention the fact of how much power the main girl used to keep Dekun from destroying himself the whole time. So it makes sense that she's still recovering. I just hope it's not one of those things where they recover for like 2 seasons and then they're like, oh, by the way, they're back. And they could easily do that because of all the stuff that's popping off already. We have Bakugo retaking his test with Icy Hot, and I think that's already pretty telling of how this show has gone as a whole. Uh, with taking out two of their best characters, like like second and third, or first and second. Midoriya's third, and after all of the big stuff has popped off, it's crazy to think that he came out third, and the two people that came out first didn't even wind up getting their provisional license afterwards. Wow, I probably should have got hit by that. But regardless of the fact, it looks like we're going to see just how they're going to get it and how they can become back into being viable characters, or at least somewhat heroes that can actually go out and do stuff without, um, breaking any rules and stuff like that. Uh, the crazy part of all this is, even after we have watched, all this pop off and everything happen, seeing Gran Turismo go out and pretty much find a new enemy, like someone else that's out there, that's going to be a problem at the end of the day, kind of blows my mind, right? Like, not only does he seem like he's going to be a problem, he seems like he's pretty disgustingly broken. Um, Not only did Gran Turismo have to book it out of there and somehow still capture the person he wanted to capture, which, don't get me wrong, it almost felt like that guy wanted to be captured, like the way he was continuously getting spotted out and kept going to the same forest. Uh, and even after, you've gone to the same place for quite a bit of time, yeah, I guess he never really thought of someone trailing him, which is weird to me. Like, I would have been pretty sure I was getting trailed if I was such a big um, problem to the academy, or just a problem to hero society as a general. And I was one of the reason why the lead of villains can get from place to place quicker than they normally could. And if I'm taken out, that means a whole bunch of people are losing out on a warp gate teleportation ability, which is smart. on them to make a move on this guy, but we also see this ginormous. It was like giga, gigantic or something. Oh yeah, no, this man looks like the guy who can harden his body, but his body's always hardened because of how like weirdly chiseled his jaw was and stuff like that. My hero has some interesting character designs when it comes down to them really just letting it fly, and I feel like this guy was a really good example of that. He's ginormous. All he really did was like try to put his hand down on the people and ended up wiping out trees and sending a whole bunch of stuff flying. Not only that, Gran Turismo got injured pretty badly looking on his head and still saved a cop and captured a guy. That's a true, like, veteran hero move. Not only will I save you, I'm gonna take this guy in. We came here to take this guy in, and he's going in, right? Um, the thing that actually shocked me was the fact that they killed the sand guy. Like, the sand guy actually died, or I think they should have just said he went missing in action. Like, he's MIA, um, not KIA, because unless they found the marble and then they got him out of the marble, and once they got him out, he was dead. That's messed up. Like, last time I checked, he was inside of a little ball, which I'm not sure if the magician guy took it back, so he has him as well, like he's captured or something. But it feels more or less like he would have left that little marble there, and maybe the cops just haven't found it, or maybe they found it and they don't have a way to break him out. But to just straight up say that he is dead, the sand guy who had a decent ability against the people he was going against, it's just he's a hero, so he had so many flaws that he had to show because of who he is as a person, because of who he is as a like as his occupation, like his job is to save people, not to beat the crap out of these villains and make them wish they were never born, you know, like that's the side job, that's the side hustle. But the real job is to make sure everybody comes out alive, even if that means risking your own life to do so, which this guy does. So it's one of those things where you're kind of just stuck in disbelief when people die in the show, I feel like. It just doesn't feel like something that's natural, right? Like, having people die in My Hero now more often is becoming like a trend. Like, people dying or people getting absolutely blasted. It's just what happens now. Um, Daikun, it's all up to you now. I really do look forward to seeing what people are going to say about My Hero at the end of at the end of the time. Like, is it always going to be this anime that people hype up to a ridiculous amount and stick by it, or will it become a show that people remember hyping up a ridiculous amount and maybe it doesn't live up to what they expect towards the end, or like some people say with Dragon Ball, it lasted too long and it's drawn out. So do you think a show like My Hero would follow the same trend, do as much as it can, leaving it out there as long as it can? Because for My Hero, I feel like it's the closest thing to Boruto, just without the whole history of older characters for the fans to rally around and be like, oh yeah, this guy's way better than any of the heroes you guys are watching now. We used to watch all the great heroes. I feel like I can say that because with My Hero, if they do go that long and make Midoriya a symbol of peace and he becomes somewhat of a All Might at the end of the day, we might just watch him pass down his ability into somebody. And I mean, he was pretty close to doing it today, right? And spilling the beans that that's even possible, or that he was a quirkless person, and the only reason why he's here is because of All Might. It felt like that was coming. Like Midoriya was a second away, which is weird because he's acting as if it's his fault, right? like it's his fault that this guy took such significant damage, and it's his fault that he's injured or something along those lines, which is weird to me. I mean, it makes sense, Midoriya being who he is and carrying the way he does. I just hope that this whole thing turns into quite an interesting development for both their characters, for him and Linnea. Because if he does have his abilities rewinded and brought back, it would be cool and all, but at the same time, I'm just looking forward to whatever comes in the future of the show because as of right now, we haven't really seen too much different stuff. And I think Bakugo and Icy Hot showing up and about to do what they're about to do next week should be our introduction to at least more characters because they even have some other characters from a different school showing up with them to do the same job, but it's about a whole bunch of kids and stuff like that, so I don't expect too much from it, but I do want to see what Bakugo and Icy Hot have been doing all this time. If Bakugo's attitude has changed during being in the moment, but he keeps his attitude around the people that he has to be around all the time. It's just that he can put on a real hero face or hero mentality when he's in the field compared to when he's just living his life and chilling. But with all that being said, everybody, I hope you have an amazing day, night, evening. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I might not be dropping something until later tonight. If I do, I hope you are ready for that, and I will already have all the information in my head. I just can't make a video for it because I won't have enough time, so I will try to get it out to you as soon as possible today, being Fate Grand Order. So, with all that being said, take care, everybody, and peace.